Hello, everybody. I have a couple of things to say first. So, if you're just joining us on our live stream, yes, we are going a tiny little bit earlier than expected, but that's okay. Hello, everybody! In this week's episode of The Enthusiast, Few Publications celebrate 75 years of publishing The Phantom and heaps more in this week's live episode of The Enthusiast. But there's one thing that I have to be able to share with you all. And yes, I've got my mo back, but that's not all. I've been considering this for I've been considering this for a good while, and I think this channel has come at a time where a lot of things are happening, and I know that every single person that watches this YouTube channel or watches The Enthusiast or watches Phantom Cave reviews and my reviews on the channel as a whole, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone taking a moment out of their day and thinking, oh, well, I might actually watch this. I might actually think that this review or this show or this episode that Mr. Kelly actually makes is actually pretty damn good. And I appreciate that everyone here and everyone that watches this YouTube channel, whether you're a new viewer, whether you're a returning viewer, or whether you've just been here for a very, very long time. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the comments as well. I appreciate that as well. But there comes to a time and there comes to a point where a lot of the stuff that I do and a lot of the stuff I make on this channel becomes too much. And today is one of those days. Today is one of those days where after I've been considering this, as I said, I've been considering this for a little while, and after The Enthusiast wraps up, I will be stepping away from this channel. And I don't say that I don't say that I'm going to be stepping away from this channel lightly. I do never say that. I'm always that type of person where I'm getting the things done. I'm into it from the get-go. And right now, I have a lot of my YouTube channel is sort of not, to be honest with you, my YouTube channel right now isn't really it used to be a very, very high priority, and I used to love it. I used to love just sitting down, talking about the Phantom. That's why I've got my shirt on tonight, and I just feel like I've hit a stage where I don't want to do it anymore. And that's okay. And I know and I understand that with this decision comes a lot of it doesn't come with a lot of regret. I don't regret any of the stuff I've said over the years. I don't regret anything that I've made over the years. And I really, really appreciate people coming and watching the stuff I make. It's just sometimes it sends you to just another place. It's just good. And I love doing this. I love it, but it just comes to a point where you're just ready to step away. And sometimes in a career like this, sometimes when you're making stuff consistently and you're keeping at it for so long, and I don't mean that I have burnt myself out. I already did that early last year. I had a little minor burnout. But yeah, that's nothing to be funny about. But I've really enjoyed this experience. I've really felt like I really loved reviewing books, having someone to, well, having someone that actually likes the stuff that I put out, and that I'm just very, very appreciative of everyone that is here. And I appreciate if you're watching this on the live replay later on, if you want to comment down below, you can. And yeah, I am stepping, as I said, breaking news. I am stepping away from this channel, and but I will still be finishing this season of The Enthusiast. As I said, I'm not one of those types of people that leaves something hanging and doesn't leave it unfinished, unlike Netflix. But anyways, on the show this week we have few publications news, and I just want to say thank you. And I am stepping away from the channel, but I will finish the season 4 of The Enthusiast. Just going to say that. This week, few publications have published their 75th anniversary Phantom comic, and it has to be one of the most special comics that I've ever seen. It's sort of this book that I'm about to get for you. Oh yes, we also have that Ibis Mystery Saga that we got to finish as well. I've got to finish that as well. I've got it here right now, and I might do a live stream either tomorrow. Okay, but anyways, back on track. So this week, few publications, as I said, not spoiling it last week, but few publications have published their 75th anniversary Phantom comic book, and it looks fantastic with a PH. Looks amazing. Looks amazing. Looks amazing. It's got a big whoppy 75th anniversary for few publications. It is the Phantom, number 1952. It's 180 pages of absolutely goddamn awesomeness. It is absolutely fantastic, and I bagged and boarded this comic book today, this afternoon, actually, and as we like to do on here, we like to show things and we like to have a good old talk. If anyone got that joke. Okay, so we're going to have a look. As I said last week on the show, I didn't really want to be spoiled by this comic because there was a few posts about it on Facebook, and this book is just great. It's just one of those things where few publication gets it right, and it feels like a trade paperback. It's in full color, and we are going to have a look. I haven't even started reading this, to be honest, because we are busy. We busy like the Jar Jar Binks in Star Wars. Yeah, so it's pretty cool, I guess. With that artwork, that interior art that one was done by Shane Foley. That's Shane Foley's stuff right now. Sort of reminds me of the classic Don Newton stories. Okay, so that's fairly new. There's the panel that Chronicle Chamber posted. There's that page, if anyone saw it. Wow. This book is very, very cool. Oh, it's even got the daily scoops. Well, that's handy. You got Paul Mason. You got the Brazilian. No, you've got the Italian guy. Well, considering that movie that I think that one of the 2 3 people that's in the Wog Boy, the Wog Boy, the second one, Wog Boys for Life. The guy in there, the free trio, they all say, oh, everyone's a Mara, everyone's a Greek person, everyone is Italian. That's sort of that. What I just said. What I just said was that I called most people Italian and Greek. Oh, sorry. Pardon me, sorry. So throughout the years, few publications has really gone the test of time from the 4 original businessmen who would create something really special for 7.5 decades, which is amazing. It is, as I said, it's a testament to their time. It's a commitment and an achievement that has not gone without and not gone missing. To Jim Shepard's long association with View and the Shepard family, continuing Jim's publishing venture to the current publishing duo, the current publishing trio, Glenn Ford, Reno White, and Dudley Hogarth. This book is not just a testament and a dedication to the comic book character, the Phantom in Australia, the land down under. But it is also a great book for fans to look at right now and to look back in the future, in the years to come, where spaceships are present. Maybe not. Maybe I'm getting too sci-fi. maybe I've been watching too much Big Bang Theory. That's probably a good estimate and a good example of where we're at right now. So even when some of us might not be here, as I just said, it is still a great achievement. I wish Few Publications a big congratulations for this huge anniversary and for the years to come, where spaceships are now present and the Big Bang Theory has turned legendary. And where Few Publications still goes on today. Such a great book. Such a great book. And coming up on this week's show, Wes, we have been going on for 13 minutes. I have been doing what Brad Kelly does with the anticipation of coming up on this week's show. In the Creator News this week, Paul Mason has posted a sneak peek from the big book this week. And the Phantom goes global, yes? Yes, it's not got anything to do with Wayne's World. No, the Phantom goes global as the Phantom Man releases another hardcover trade paper book, that book looks amazing. That book should be in every person's collection. I'm just saying that. It should be in every person's collection if you can get a copy. A new French Phantom comic is coming soon as pre-orders are ending, and new Phantom comics. Yes, as I said, the Phantom comics are going global. The Phantom comic is going global in Chile, in Greece, and Germany. Okay, we've also got a very brand new segment. Yes, get in there. So we've got the Overview City, a brand new segment where I take a look at some new Phantom Rings. Yes, we've got Overview City happening right now. It is happening on the top front of Morristown. And so we're going to be having a look at some new Phantom Rings. What is in this box? Yes, we're going to be having a look at some Phantom Rings, a limited edition ring set, number 60 out of 2000, which these rings are very, very rare. They're very, very rare. And they came out they came out in 2016 and was distributed by Icon Collectibles. That's pretty cool. That is pretty damn cool. We're going to have a look at that. We're also going to be having a look at The Phantom, the complete DC Comics series, volume number 1. And not only, we're going to be having a look at few publications, The Phantom, 1938, The Ibis Mystery, Part 5. And we're also going to be having a look at The Phantom, issue number 1939, The Lord of the Dragon, which is actually in a folder that I put in there this afternoon, which is going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that. We also have a very, very big discussion this week. Our big new discussion is that, does AI art have a place in the world? And next up in this week's Creator News, Paul Mason has posted sneak peeks of his now published work in the latest Phantom comic from Few Publications, which is the 75th anniversary. The Phantom comic. It's bad boy. And it is also, he posted that, and some of his work that he has been posting, some of his work that has been getting published in the last, you would say, maybe 5 to 6 years, has been very, very well done. It's been very, very well done, and it's a lot of it's very creative. A lot of it has been written by himself, and art is also by himself in the later stages of his art and story writing career, and a lot of it has been very good. His latest published work is in the Phantom, the 75th anniversary edition. It is very, very good. I haven't read it yet, but it seems a lot of Paul Mason stuff is fantastic. The latest published work before that would have been last year's boxing story, last year's boxing story, and it was a sequel to an old Lee Falk story. So yeah, his stuff is very, very good. I enjoy his stuff because it's like very, very gritty. It's very gritty, it's very grungified, and I think in that one over there, he also had a news story come out a couple of months ago, and that month was, I think it came out in June, and it was a part of the color special Few puts out for the week before Supernova Sydney, and it had a story that had something to do with Julie Walker. Yeah. I haven't reviewed it yet, and we will get to that book, and I think next week, if it's not next week, and if it's not the following week after that, we're going to be having a whole heap of live comic book reviews for you and for the audience. So stick tuned for that. and you can now watch my show, The Enthusiast, on Anchor and Spotify. The Enthusiast, where the passion for the Phantom doesn't waver. New episodes weekly on Tuesdays. I will also be putting a link to the podcast in the description down below. And even after I have stopped and I've stepped away from this channel, this podcast and all of the content that I've made over the last four and a bit years will still be available for anyone that wants to view my content, for anyone that wants to watch stuff on the Phantom. It will still be available on YouTube. It will still be available on Odyssey, and yeah, it pretty much the basic understanding is it still will be available. And in this week's newest segment called The Phantom, yes, The Phantom goes global. The Phantom Man releases another hardcover trade paperback book, which looks amazing. A French Phantom comic. Pre-orders are coming to a close soon on this comic strip, and a recent Facebook post on the 29th of August, Joe Espirito posted that the pre-orders are coming to an end, and by this time this week, those pre-orders would have been gone and would have been finished. By the time of this video comes out, by the time of this live episode is finished, those pre-orders would have been, as you can say, finished. Okay, there's also new Phantom comics coming out of Chile, Greece, and Germany. The Phantom in the last few years, in my opinion, the Phantom in the last few years has really gone global, and the Phantom been adapted to a video game in 2024. It is going to be awesome, and who knows what else is in store or in development for our favorite comic book character. Now the timing everyone's been waiting for. It is another new segment. It is the Overview City. In another new segment this week, I will be having a good look at some Phantom rings. I will be having a look at some Phantom comics and a whole lot more. So, today on Overview City, if you are coming in late, we are going to be having a look at the limited edition ring set of the Phantom. It is number 60 out of 2000, and this ring set was made and produced in 2016, and it is these rings are very, very high quality. I've looked at them before this live stream. They are awesome. They are high quality, and we're going to have a look at them right now. This ring set is also very, very hard to find. It is also a very rare Phantom merchandising object. So, as you can see, the top part of the wood of this set comes off like an old wooden pencil case, and it has the Phantom engraved on the wood, and it has the old Cy Barry engraved on the wood, if you can see it. And it reads the limited edition ring set number 60 of 2000. So they made 2000 copies of this ring set, and my number is number 60. And just for everyone watching on the live stream, the rings come in like a box like this with a type of cardboard paperish packing stuff inside of the box, if you can see it. And then it's also nestled in there inside the box. It has a pretty cool skull. And this is what the skull looks like. It's pretty damn cool. It's fairly awesome. Just going to get a bit of a close-up of that. It's fairly awesome. Fairly unique piece. And now we're going to have a look what's inside of it. Now, I'm not going to be wearing these rings, as we can see, but I've already tried them on, and I won't be reading these. I won't be wearing these rings. So that's how the front part of the skull ring set comes in, and then these are what the rings look like. And one of them, as you can see, has the skull mark on it, which usually goes on your right fist, and the other one is the good mark symbol, which also goes on your left fist. So yeah, it's pretty damn cool. If you can see it, that's fairly cool as well. And then also on the back, it also has it has the usual copyright KFS TM Hearst and distributed by Arcane Collectibles, made in China. It also comes with the rings are set in a purple foam-like thing, and the top of the skull head just goes on like that. So that's our first object we're going to be having a look at. How you going, Rossify? Yeah, it's fairly unique piece, fairly unique and rare set of skull rings. And that's our first thing we're going to have a look at. The top of the ring set of the wooden box, top of it just slides on back on there. And our next thing we're going to be having a look at in this newest segment is the Phantom, the DC comic book series. It's a hard cover book done by Hermes Press, and we're going to have a look at that. Originally, in this comic book series, there is 3 volumes from this book set. They all present all of the original DC Phantom comic series that were from the late 80s to early 90s, and it's presented by Hermes Press in a hardcover book, which is very, very nice. When these originally were coming out, I was pre-ordering them from my local book shop, and the interior design looks like a bit like that. You might not be able to see it, but yeah, it's fairly transparent comic strip panels. We have the Phantom contents as an introduction of the DC Comics Phantom, as an interview with Peter David and the Phantom, and a focus on Joe Orlando, the man of many talents. And then it also has the stories, covers 2 issues 1 to 4 by Joe Orlando, and pencils by Dave Gibbons. The inks were done by Dave Gibbons, and it was written by Peter David. And the artwork was done by Joe Orlando, and the pencils were done by Dennis Jenke. No, the inks were done by Dennis Jenke, and the pencils were done by Joe Orlando. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's fairly cool. That's what the contents and the inside pages look like. And yeah, so the book was printed in 2021, but then I didn't receive it until last year. So we've got the introduction of the DC Phantom comics, introduction of what it's all about. If I can actually balance this. Yeah, it is fairly decent. They've got original artwork from the series. One of the many people who recently just purchased one of the cover art to the first issue of this series is Jamie Diaz, and he purchased that. He showed me, and that piece that he purchased, the original art for it, looks fantastic. It looks amazing. It looks great. It's so good. There's an interview with Peter David on the Phantom, and it has the promo material for the Phantom movie that came out in 1996. The page quality of this book is what was my first Phantom comic. My first Phantom comic came from 2016. It was published by a few publications, and the issue number was number 1761. It was the first issue, a part of a mini series that would then go on to be a regular big issue, 100-page issue comic called the Phantom's World Special. And before that, they did a 4-issue regular series that was included in this series, and that started. The first issue came out on. First issue number was 1761, and there was only 4 of those, and then they went to a big 100-page one. So yeah, that was my introduction to the Phantom, and that came out in 2016, August, September, around there somewhere. And then, yeah, sort of part of that, there was also the 80th Phantom anniversary edition that also came out as well. So, yeah. So, yeah, in the first 2 or 3 weeks of me looking at the Phantom and reading the Phantom, I pretty much had a fairly good head start. So there's some of the original panels and some of the original artwork. Okay, so a fight between Batman and the Phantom. Who would win it? Well, you've got Batman, he's fairly high tech. He's got a lot of technology, and the Phantom, he has his jungle skills, but if it was in either situation where the Phantom was in the jungle, I reckon that the Phantom may have a bit of an edge, but if it was in a different location and no one had their advantage on them, then I reckon Batman could win. I think that if Batman would win, then it would come down to his expertise, his technology, and I there's another part of that as well, because there's another part to it as well, because I don't reckon that the Phantom and Batman would fight to start with. They would be maybe trying to solve a case together, but then on the top of that, the Phantom doesn't really work with other people. He's sort of like a person that I work alone, but I'm not as dark as the Dark Knight. He's not one of those people where he's sitting and he's mooding in his. Batman is a moody character, and he tends to be a bit down on himself a bit. And the more recent stuff that people have been publishing on the Batman character, um, have gone more of a darkness sort of type with the story elements. Like you saw with the latest Batman film that came out last year, you saw that it was very centered where the Batman is very dark, he's very moody character, and he's sort of like he's moping around trying to find an answer, and then he eventually finds an answer, and then he goes and takes care of business. I don't think the Phantom goes to that low. I don't think the Phantom at some stages he can be a tiny little bit moody and very a little bit dark, but I don't think he goes to the extent of Batman where he's a little bit more darker and a bit more moodier and a bit more what's the word for it? A bit more moping around and trying to solve things, while the Phantom is trying to get stuff done. Is trying to get stuff done from the get go. And yeah, well, the current daily strip is that's slow. That's been going for like nearly two. Next year will be like 2 or 3 years for that's been going. So that story is slow, but I don't think there's in this fighting between the Phantom and the Batman. I think there's two arguments to it where you've got in an alternate reality the Batman and the Phantom can fight with each other, but on the other side of that, they may be wanting to solve the case. There's like two arguments to that question, and yeah, hopefully that answers your question. We've got the story. The album photo for this season was taken from this book. No, it was taken from the third book, I'm pretty sure. There's 3 volumes, as I said. And moving on forward, this book is very, very high quality. The pages are sort of like a glossy type texture. And the coloring is very, very well done. It's very, very, it's presented very good. Some very, very good illustrations and artwork in there. It's like we've got this panel that's in this book, it's on page 95, and in the original comic, it would be on page 23, and I reckon it depicts the Ghost Who Walks and Mr. Walker very, very well. If I can actually balance it while trying to talk about it, it's in this panel here. I'm not too sure if you can see it, but I reckon that that one there, the Ghost Who Walks and Mr. Walker, is very, very. It's depicted very, very well. I think that also because obviously the original creator of the Phantom, Lee Falk, was also still around in this time period, and there's stories where he didn't really like the series that DC was putting out. There's stories about that, and then there's stories that it was the biggest. This first issue was the biggest issue of the Phantom that had been sold. So you can have it either way. Whether the original creator doesn't really approve of it, or the series is an absolute hit. Yeah, so page count comes in at 176 pages, but that's without the interior book and the back and front cover. So yeah, that's this book. And our next book that we're going to be having a look at, we've been going for 40 minutes. And our next book that we're going to be having a look at is the Ibis Mystery Part 5. I will be soon before I step away from this channel. And if you didn't catch up on that huge announcement that I made, you are able to watch that earlier on in this episode. But until then, we're going to be talking about this. So we have the Ibis Mystery Part 5 plus The Strange Day of the Witchman Part 1. It is a sequel to the original Ibis Mystery saga. It was published by a few publications this year. And my strongly holy opinion on this book is that the pages within this book, if you read all of the saga together, it sort of makes sense from a story point of view, but the artwork, yeah. I always say that the artwork has to complement the story, and in this story, in this comic book, the artwork looks very, very rushed. Can I bluntly put it that way? It looks very, very rushed. And the artist for that story is Percy Okahowa, which, yeah, he don't get me wrong, he's an amazing artist. Just that book, just that comic it looks fairly rushed. It looked very rushed, and that sort of in parts didn't really help with the story. What else are we going to be talking about? So we've also got the few publications. The Phantom issue number 1939 is the cover was done by Jeremy McPherson, and the story is an old 1960s and 1970s old Italian story. The story is very, very well done. I very much enjoyed that story, and the cover. That cover by Jeremy McPherson it just has to be one of the best covers I have seen to date. I haven't seen a better cover this year that has just gone wow. It's just gone wow, and it was amazing. It truly was amazing. The blueness, the blue vibrant colors, and then when you turn it to the back page and when you turn it to the back cover, it just gets even better because you see a big golden dragon. It's so good. It is so very good. And if you haven't looked at that cover, if you haven't got that comic book, I think it's always available via few publications at the website at www.phantomcomic.com.au, and that is Overview City. You're now able to get 14% off all things Hermes Press with the code Enthusiast2022, all one word. Whether you are looking for something new to read on an afternoon after a hard day's work, or a new Phantom book to add to your collection, there's always definitely something for every Phantom fiend. And this week's discussion, we're going to be talking about, does AI art have a place in the world? This week there's been a bit of a discussion on whether AI art has a place in the world in the Facebook Phantom groups. Or is it just another tool for artists to use? My personal opinion on AI art is I don't like how you can just make something or create something without putting pen and or pencil to paper, and not even putting any effort into using your own creativity in your work. I don't that that part where you're just letting the computer do the work for you doesn't really sit well with me. And just, yeah, I said that. And it's not also, you're not expressing your creativity, you're not expressing and creating a piece that you feel like you've gone, yes, I've created that, I did that, and I drew that. And letting a computer do all the work for you doesn't really sit well with me. And whether you're like making it look like a cartoon drawing to a historical oil renaissance painting or messing around with watercolors, art is an expression of one's creative juices, and having someone do all the work for me doesn't, as I said, doesn't really sit well with me. I like to have some kind of involvement in the stuff I am drawing and making. On top of that, AI art just doesn't look right. You can tell if it's been created by a computer and not by a person, because it gives off that vibe that says, hey, I wasn't created by a human. Then on the flip side of this argument, it's more cost effective and just another tool for artists to use or take advantage of. Yeah, I get that, but there's nothing like sitting down on an afternoon or a morning or a midday and just holding a pencil to draw a picture and just letting the creativity flow. If it was your, and I'm going to pose this question. It's sort of it's sort of harsh, but it's not, I don't think it's to the point where it's harsh. But if it was your job and AI could do it for you, you wouldn't be angry or in an uproar about it. Comment your opinions down below on what you think about this and your view on AI art, and whether you'd like to see art that hasn't been done by a person and has been done by a computer on Phantom comic book covers. Comment your suggestions and your opinions down in the comments down below. And you can now follow us on our socials on Instagram at Phantom Cave Reviews and on Facebook at Phantom Cave. And if you enjoy Phantom Cave Reviews, consider subscribing. And if you could publish stories on the Phantom, what would your story be about? And as always, keep Phantom Caving, and as always, stay safe. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. So sorry about the rant about the AI art discussion. That topic is big. I had a lot of passion for that discussion, and it really doesn't sit well with me. But I hope you enjoyed this week's show, and I will be around for a little bit longer. I will be, as I said earlier, I will be stepping away from the channel because, as I said, I just I I just don't feel like I want to keep doing it. I don't feel like I want to keep doing it, and that's okay. And I appreciate everyone viewing the things that I make, the things I talk about. I appreciate everyone, whether you're commenting, whether you've subscribed in the last 4 and a bit years. I appreciate that. I love I love what I do. Just that I don't feel like I you get, as I said, you get to a point in a career where you don't feel like you want to be doing that. You don't feel like you want to be doing it, and you feel like you want to be doing something else. But yeah, I have no regrets over what all of the stuff that I've said over the last 4 and a bit years, and I appreciate everyone's comments. Without the viewers and without the audience, nothing like this, nothing what I make, really, nothing, nothing that I make can, nothing without the viewers and the audience and people watching it, nothing really, nothing really, yeah, no, it viewers and the audience and comments, it makes it that much better. And it's good to talk to people. I love talking to people. I love doing this type of stuff. I just feel like it's time to hang up the boots, hang up the phantom hat, hang up the hat for the next day. And if someone wants to take on Phantom Cave reviews and make stuff with it, I am. They can if they want to. They just have to either message me on Instagram, Facebook, or email me or comment down below. If you would like to take this channel to the next level, you can do so. And this channel, as I am finishing, as I said, I'm going to be finishing this season off, this 4th season of The Enthusiast, and then I will be stepping away from this channel. And yeah, as I said, I've got other things that I need to be able to do, and I am stepping away, and I don't regret any of the things that I've said. I love doing this. It just comes to a point where you can't. It just gets to a point where you're not wanting to feel like you want to do it anymore, which is all right. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the joy in the rest of this season 4 of The Enthusiast. And as always, keep Phantom Caving, stay safe, and we'll be back soon, really soon.